Introduction. In the heart of a serene town, where the rustling leaves whispered tales of joy and the gentle river cradled the dreams of its inhabitants, there existed a family whose life seemed like an enchanting tapestry woven with threads of love and laughter. The Andersons, a seemingly unassuming family of 4, inhabited a charming house framed by a white picket fence, embodying the quintessence of suburban bliss. Thomas, the stalwart father, and Emily, the nurturing mother, crafted a haven for their children, Lucy and Michael. Their days were painted with the hues of familial warmth and innocent joy, creating a haven where time seemed to stand still. Little did they know that the tranquil facade veiled the impending storm that would redefine the contours of their existence. As the seasons unfolded, painting the landscape in the melancholy tones of autumn, fate embarked on a journey that would lead the Andersons down an unforeseen path of tragedy. The symphony of their laughter would soon be drowned by the somber notes of sorrow, and the walls of their home would bear witness to a poignant tale of loss, struggle, and the indomitable human spirit. Join us as we navigate through the chapters of the Andersons' lives, exploring the fragility of happiness, the depth of despair, and the flickering embers of resilience that endure even in the darkest corners of existence. This is not just a story, it is a poignant reflection on the profound complexities of life, where tragedy becomes a crucible, testing the endurance of the human spirit. So, fasten your seatbelts, for the journey ahead is an emotional odyssey that will resonate with the deepest recesses of your soul.
Chapter 1: The Beginning of the End. In the town of Eldridge, where the sun painted the sky with hues of gold at dusk, the Andersons' modest home stood as a testament to the simple joys of family life. Thomas, a man with calloused hands and a heart full of dreams, toiled diligently to provide for his wife, Emily, and their 2 children, Lucy and Michael. The Andersons were not just a family, they were a microcosm of warmth, love, and the unspoken promise that tomorrow would be better than today. One crisp evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the hills that cradled Eldridge, Thomas received a phone call that would mark the inception of a relentless storm. The voice on the other end delivered news that shattered the tranquility of their existence. Thomas had lost his job, a job he had dedicated the better part of his life to. The company he had considered his second home succumbed to the ruthless winds of economic downturn, leaving Thomas, and by extension, his family, stranded in the tempest of uncertainty. The news hung in the air like a heavy fog, enveloping the Anderson household in a pool of disbelief. The once vibrant home echoed with the silence of a reality that refused to be ignored. Emily, accustomed to providing solace with a reassuring smile, found herself grappling with a sinking feeling in the pit of her stomach. The children, Lucy and Michael, sensed the change in the atmosphere, like flowers wilting under the weight of an unexpected frost. As the shock of unemployment settled, Thomas faced the daunting task of explaining the situation to his family. The news was met with a mixture of confusion and concern, especially from Lucy, whose innocent eyes sought reassurance from her father. Thomas, attempting to mask the turmoil within, assured them that everything would be all right, that this was just a temporary setback. Little did they know that this setback was the precursor to a series of challenges that would test the very fabric of their familial bonds. The days that followed were marked by a sense of unease, a cloud of uncertainty that loomed over the once harmonious home. Thomas, a man whose hands had built dreams and carved a secure haven, now found himself navigating the unfamiliar territory of job applications and interviews. His days were spent scanning newspapers and online job boards, hoping for a lifeline that would restore the sense of normalcy that had been abruptly stolen from them. As the weight of financial instability pressed down on the Andersons, subtle changes began to ripple through their interactions. Emily, once the unwavering pillar of support, grappled with her own fears and insecurities. The children, too young to comprehend the gravity of their situation, felt the tension in the air and saw the creases of worry etched on their parents' faces. The beginning of the end was not just the loss of a job, it was the unraveling of the life they had known. The white picket fence that had symbolized security now seemed like a cruel joke, and the laughter that once echoed through the hallways of their home had become a distant memory. Little did the Andersons realize that their journey had just begun, and the road ahead would lead them through the labyrinth of struggle, loss, and, ultimately, the indomitable human spirit.
Chapter 2: Whispers of Change. In the days that followed the seismic tremor of Thomas's job loss, the Anderson household transformed into a microcosm of whispered anxieties and uncertain futures. The once vibrant tapestry of their family life began to unravel, revealing the stark threads of economic vulnerability that had been woven into the very fabric of their existence. Thomas, a man accustomed to providing for his family with unwavering determination, found himself navigating the unfamiliar terrain of unemployment. The routine that had grounded him for years was replaced by the disheartening task of updating resumes and crafting cover letters. Each rejection letter that arrived in the mail felt like a palpable blow, a reminder that the world outside their haven was indifferent to the struggles of a man desperate to shield his family from the harsh winds of financial uncertainty. The air in the Anderson home, once filled with the comforting aroma of home-cooked meals and laughter, now carried an undertone of anxiety. Emily, the stalwart wife and mother, found herself torn between the desire to ease her family's worries and the weight of her own fears. The once effortless dance of their partnership now stumbled under the weight of unspoken concerns. Lucy and Michael, though shielded from the harsh realities of their parents' conversations, sensed the changes in the air. The laughter that once echoed through the halls was replaced by hushed conversations and forced smiles. The routine stability that had shaped their days now gave way to the unpredictability of an uncertain future. Whispers of change extended beyond the confines of their home. The townspeople, who had once exchanged pleasantries and shared the warmth of community, now cast curious glances at the Andersons. The realization that economic downturn could cast its indiscriminate shadow even on the most seemingly stable homes created a ripple of unease in Eldridge. As the weeks unfolded, Thomas's tireless efforts to secure new employment mirrored the changing seasons outside.
The once vibrant autumn leaves, now fallen and trampled underfoot, mirrored the fleeting hope that slipped through his fingers with each rejected application. The rhythm of their days became a pendulum, swinging between the optimism of potential job opportunities and the despair of unrelenting setbacks. Emily, recognizing the strain on her husband, attempted to maintain a facade of normalcy for the children. Yet, the weight of the unspoken burden bore down on her shoulders, manifesting in the lines that etched themselves on her face and the weariness that lingered in her gaze. In this chapter of Whispers, the Andersons grappled not only with the external challenges of unemployment but also with the internal dynamics of a family in flux. The whispers of change permeated every corner of their lives, a haunting reminder that the winds of fate could blow unpredictably, reshaping the landscape of their existence. Little did they know that these whispers were but the prelude to a symphony of challenges that would test the endurance of their familial bonds.
Chapter 3: Shadows of Struggle. As the unrelenting tide of unemployment persisted, the Andersons found themselves navigating a landscape fraught with shadows of struggle. The once vibrant home, adorned with the echoes of laughter and the warmth of familial love, now stood as a silent witness to the erosion of stability that had defined their existence. Days blurred into nights, each passing moment leaving its imprint on the weary faces of Thomas and Emily. The relentless search for employment had become an all-encompassing quest, a quest that seemed to yield only echoes of rejection. The walls of the Anderson home, once a sanctuary from the outside world, now harbored the weight of unspoken anxieties and the hollowness of unmet expectations. Thomas, with his shoulders slouched under the invisible burden of providing, faced the demoralizing task of explaining their predicament to creditors and bill collectors. The once reassuring voice on the other end of the phone now carried the tone of indifference, a stark reminder that life's hardships were met with apathy in the cold corridors of bureaucracy. The family's financial reserves, once a safety net, dwindled like sand slipping through clenched fists. Emily, who had once managed the household with a finesse that belied her role, now grappled with the constraints of an ever-tightening budget. The weekly grocery trips became an exercise in frugality, as the specter of scarcity loomed over even the most basic necessities. Lucy and Michael, though shielded from the intricacies of financial struggle, sensed the tension in their home. The once carefree laughter of children playing in the backyard was replaced by the unspoken understanding that something fundamental had shifted. Their innocence, a fragile bubble protecting them from the harsh realities, began to waver as they witnessed the fatigue etched on their parents' faces. Shadows of struggle extended beyond the confines of the Anderson home. The once welcoming community of Eldridge, now grappling with its own economic uncertainties, offered sympathetic glances but little tangible assistance. The townspeople, facing their own challenges, could only watch as the Andersons treaded water in the sea of adversity. Thomas, a man whose resilience had been a beacon in times of tribulation, now found himself questioning the very essence of his identity. The weight of his perceived failure as a provider bore heavily on his conscience, casting a shadow over the pride he once took in being the family's breadwinner. Emily, the unyielding anchor of the family, attempted to wear a brave face, masking her own fears to shield her children from the harsh realities of their circumstances. Yet, the cracks in her facade were becoming more pronounced, revealing the vulnerability that lay beneath the surface. In the shadows of struggle, the Andersons grappled not only with the external challenges of unemployment but also with the internal turmoil that threatened to erode the foundations of their familial bonds. The once unquestionable pillars of love and stability now trembled under the weight of financial strain, leaving the family teetering on the precipice of an uncertain future. Little did they know that the shadows they faced were but the prelude to a tempest that would test the limits of their endurance.
Chapter 4: A Glimmer of Hope. Amidst the pervasive shadows of struggle that had settled over the Anderson household, a faint but elusive light emerged, casting a feeble glow on the path of uncertainty. It was in the form of a phone call, a beckoning whisper of possibility that stirred the dormant embers of hope within Thomas. The call came from a potential employer, a prospect that held the promise of reversing the downward spiral the family found themselves entangled in. As Thomas prepared for the interview, a renewed sense of optimism permeated the air, momentarily dispelling the heaviness that had settled over the Anderson home. The morning of the interview dawned with a palpable tension, as the family huddled in shared anticipation. Thomas, donned in his best suit, carried with him not only the weight of his own aspirations but also the collective hopes of his family. Emily, ever the beacon of support, offered words of encouragement, masking the anxiety that gnawed at the edges of her composure. As Thomas stepped into the potential workplace, a dichotomy of emotions battled within him. The familiar knot of nervousness mingled with the spark of determination, creating a poignant symphony that echoed through the chambers of his mind. The interview unfolded as a pivotal moment, a crossroads that could either lead the family towards the elusive promise of stability or plunge them deeper into the abyss of uncertainty. Days passed in a suspended state of anticipation, the air thick with the immeasurable weight of waiting. The Anderson home, once resonant with the echoes of struggle, now harbored a fragile ember of hope that flickered hesitantly, vulnerable to the winds of either fortune or despair. Then came the call. The voice on the other end delivered news that seemed to momentarily suspend time itself. A glimmer of hope materialized into a tangible lifeline. A job offer that promised not only financial respite but the restoration of a semblance of normalcy. The relief that washed over the Andersons was tangible, a collective exhale that echoed through the walls of their home. A newfound energy coursed through the household as Thomas shared the news with his family. The announcement was met with tears of joy, hugs that conveyed a depth of emotion words could not capture, and smiles that radiated a warmth long absent. Lucy and Michael, their innocence momentarily shielded from the harsh realities, reveled in the contagious joy that permeated their once somber abode. The white picket fence, which had stood as a silent witness to the family's trials, now bore witness to the triumph of perseverance. The Andersons, bathed in the golden glow of this glimmer of hope, clung to the promise of a brighter tomorrow. The job offered more than a paycheck, it symbolized a resurgence of dreams, a rekindling of the belief that they could weather any storm as a united family. However, the newfound hope did not erase the scars left by the preceding struggles. The Andersons were acutely aware that the road ahead, while illuminated by this newfound opportunity, would still be fraught with challenges. The chapter of A Glimmer of Hope was not just about securing a job. It was about the resilience of the human spirit and the tenacity to emerge from the depths of despair, strengthened and undeterred. Little did the Andersons know that the glimmer of hope, though a welcome reprieve, was but a single chapter in their unfolding saga, one that held the potential for both triumphs and tribulations. The journey through the labyrinth of life would continue, but for now, they basked in the warmth of a flickering light that promised a brighter, more stable future.
Chapter 5: Fractured Bonds. With the faint light of a new job illuminating the Andersons' once dimmed path, one might have expected the restoration of stability and the revival of their former familial joy. However, the resilience forged through adversity was a double-edged sword, revealing not only the strength of their bonds but also the fractures that had quietly surfaced during the storm. The new job, while a beacon of hope, did not erase the scars left by months of financial strain and emotional turmoil. Thomas, once the unwavering patriarch, now grappled with the shadow of perceived failure that lingered in the recesses of his mind. The weight of expectations, both self-imposed and external, bore down on him, adding layers to the complexities of his role as the family's provider. Emily, having weathered the storm with stoic resolve, found it challenging to readjust to a semblance of normalcy. The wounds inflicted by months of financial precarity ran deeper than the visible, leaving an indelible mark on the dynamics of their relationship. The unspoken fears that had permeated their conversations now echoed in the silences that lingered between them. Fractured bonds manifested not only between the parents but also in the subtle shifts within the younger generation. Lucy and Michael, though shielded from the gritty details of their family's struggles, absorbed the residual tension that clung to the air. The innocence that once colored their interactions now bore the tinge of uncertainty, and the laughter that had once echoed with abandon now carried the echoes of a not-so-distant past. The financial stress, which had momentarily loosened its grip, revealed a deeper truth: the wounds of adversity were not easily healed. The Andersons, once a harmonious symphony, now grappled with the dissonance of unspoken grievances and unmet expectations. The strains of their journey lingered, casting a shadow on the very foundation that had sustained them through the storm. The white picket fence that had symbolized security became a metaphor for the barriers that had silently risen between family members. The fractures in their bonds, invisible fault lines that had widened during the struggle, now threatened to reshape the landscape of their once stable home. Conversations that were once easy and light now carried the weight of unspoken grievances, and the warmth that had defined their interactions became tinged with a hesitancy born of the recent struggles. Emily Emily, recognizing the fractures within their family, attempted to bridge the widening gaps with conversations that addressed the unspoken tensions. Thomas, burdened by the weight of expectations and his own perceived shortcomings, struggled to articulate the internal battles he faced. Lucy and Michael, caught in the crossfire of their parents' emotions, navigated the shifting dynamics with a mix of confusion and resilience. Fractured bonds were not just about the visible cracks in their familial structure, they were about the healing that needed to take place for the Andersons to reclaim the harmony they had lost. The journey through adversity had forged strengths, but it had also laid bare vulnerabilities that demanded acknowledgement and understanding. As the Andersons confronted the fractures within their home, they stood at a crossroads, one that required not only resilience in the face of external challenges but also a willingness to confront the internal struggles that threatened to unravel the very fabric of their familial ties. The chapter of fractured bonds was a pivotal point in their narrative, one that would shape the trajectory of their journey through the aftermath of adversity. Little did they know that the path ahead would demand more than just weathering external storms. It would require the mending of the fractures within their hearts and the rebuilding of trust and understanding that had been strained but not broken.
Chapter 6: The Final Blow. Just as the Andersons began to navigate the delicate process of mending the fractures within their familial bonds, an unforeseen tempest loomed on the horizon, threatening to deliver the final, devastating blow. The fragile stability they had worked so hard to regain now trembled precariously as an unexpected letter arrived, bearing news that would shake the foundations of their already vulnerable existence. The letter, its contents ominous, announced the culmination of a series of setbacks that seemed to have conspired against the Andersons. The bank, their supposed ally in times of financial turbulence, issued a foreclosure notice on their home, a home that held not just memories but the very essence of their family. The white picket fence, once a symbol of security, now stood as a cruel reminder of the impending loss that would further complicate their tumultuous journey. The news cast a pall of despair over the Anderson household. Thomas, still acclimating to the demands of his new job, faced the realization that the light at the end of the tunnel was dimming once more. Emily, who had mustered strength to rebuild what was fractured, now grappled with the crushing weight of impending homelessness. The children, Lucy and Michael, their innocent eyes now touched by the harsh realities of life, looked to their parents for reassurance, but found only mirrored anxiety. The final blow reverberated through the walls of their home, shattering the delicate truce they had established with their circumstances. The fractures that had been mended so painstakingly now splintered anew, each family member grappling with the inevitability of losing not only their financial stability but the very roof over their heads. Conversations, once laced with attempts at reconciliation, now echoed with the somber acknowledgement that their journey had taken an unexpected detour into an abyss of despair. The once thriving home became a battlefield of emotions, as blame, regret, and helplessness mingled in the charged atmosphere. The resilience that had carried them through prior trials now faced its ultimate test, a battle against impending homelessness. The looming foreclosure became a harbinger of profound loss, not just in material terms, but in the stripping away of the last vestiges of the life they had known. The Andersons, faced with the prospect of uprooting themselves from the familiar, were forced to confront the harsh reality that the journey through adversity was far from over. Friends and neighbors, who had once offered sympathetic glances and well-intentioned assurances, now found themselves at a loss for words. The town that had been a backdrop to their struggles now witnessed the unraveling of a family teetering on the precipice of destitution. Yet, in the face of the final blow, the Andersons discovered a resilience that surpassed even their own expectations. The white picket fence, though threatened, still stood as a testament to the strength of their familial bonds. As they grappled with the impending loss, a flicker of determination emerged, a resolve to face this new challenge together, to weather the storm as a united front. The final blow was not just about the loss of a home, it was a crucible that tested the core of their family. It was a stark reminder that the journey through adversity was an unpredictable odyssey, demanding not only strength in the face of external trials, but an unwavering commitment to each other. The chapter of the final blow marked a turning point, a moment where the Andersons, though battered and bruised, found within themselves the fortitude to confront the harshest realities of their journey yet. Little did they know that the road ahead, though laden with uncertainty, would also offer opportunities for resilience, growth, and the discovery of strengths they never knew they possessed.
Chapter 7: Embers of Resilience. In the aftermath of the final blow, the Andersons found themselves standing at the crossroads of despair, their once vibrant home threatened by the spectre of foreclosure. The white picket fence, a silent witness to their trials, now stood as a poignant reminder of the impending loss. Yet, amidst the wreckage of their shattered stability, the Andersons discovered a wellspring of resilience, the embers that, against all odds, continued to flicker in the face of adversity. Thomas, Emily, Lucy, and Michael, though burdened by the weight of uncertainty, refused to succumb to the despair that threatened to engulf them. The newfound job, once a beacon of hope, now became a lifeline, a tool to salvage not only their financial stability but the very roof over their heads. The family rallied together, their determination forged in the crucible of shared struggle, and set out to confront the challenges that lay ahead. The town of Eldridge, though initially immobilized by the shock of the Andersons' plight, now witnessed a community coming together in the face of crisis. Friends, neighbors, and even acquaintances stepped forward, offering support in various forms, be it emotional encouragement, practical assistance, or a collective effort to challenge the impending foreclosure. The Andersons, buoyed by the unexpected outpouring of support, faced the legal complexities of the foreclosure notice with a tenacity born from their shared journey through adversity. Legal aid, provided by members of the community who were willing to lend their expertise, became a powerful tool in their fight against homelessness. The courtroom, a symbol of bureaucratic indifference, transformed into a stage where the resilience of a family met the solidarity of a community. As the legal battle unfolded, the Andersons became unwitting champions not just for their own cause, but for others in similar predicaments. Their story, resonating with the struggles of many in Eldridge, sparked a collective effort to address the systemic issues that had allowed financial instability to permeate the lives of hardworking families. Embers of Resilience extended beyond the confines of their legal struggle. Within the Anderson household, the journey through adversity served as a crucible that forged a deeper understanding and empathy between family members. The fractures that had threatened to sever their bonds now became scars, reminders of the battles they had fought and won together. Thomas, humbled by the support of his family and community, began to shed the burden of perceived failure that had haunted him. Emily, recognizing the strength she had drawn from within herself and her loved ones, emerged as a beacon of quiet strength. Lucy and Michael, though forever changed by the tumultuous journey, discovered a resilience that would shape their characters for years to come. The white picket fence, which had stood as a symbol of impending loss, now became a rallying point. The community, once paralyzed by the fear of financial instability, found within the Anderson story a shared narrative, a call to action that transcended individual struggles and aimed to address the root causes of economic uncertainty. As the legal battle unfolded, the Andersons, in partnership with their community, achieved an unexpected victory. The foreclosure notice was overturned. Their home, though scarred by the turmoil, stood as a testament to the power of resilience, community, and the unwavering belief that even in the face of the harshest adversities, hope could be rekindled. The chapter of Embers of Resilience marked not just a conclusion, but a new beginning. The Andersons, having weathered the storms of financial instability and emotional turmoil, emerged with a profound understanding that resilience was not merely the ability to endure, but the capacity to transform adversity into a catalyst for positive change. As the Andersons looked towards the horizon, they recognized that their journey was not just a solitary odyssey, but a shared narrative that had woven the fabric of their community even tighter. The white picket fence, once threatened by the specter of loss, now stood as a symbol of collective strength, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, the embers of resilience could illuminate the path to a brighter future. And so, the Andersons, with a renewed sense of purpose and an indomitable spirit, embraced the unfolding chapters of their lives. The white picket fence, once a passive witness, now stood tall, a sentinel guarding the triumph of hope over despair, and the enduring power of resilience in the face of life's most formidable challenges. Little did they know that their story, though marked by hardships, had become an enduring testament to the human capacity for resilience, community, and the inexhaustible flame of hope that flickers in the darkest corners of our existence.